2026 housing crash is all a flutter the last 48 hours. And we're actually going to pile on. We're going to talk about four reasons that we will absolutely have a 2026 housing crash. And Dion, I want to give you full credit. You were the one that put this together. You were actually in Thailand with a beautiful background doing this live, which I appreciated. You did a great job. But I thought we should each talk about the four reasons for the 2026 housing crash. And maybe, just maybe, Matt and I come up with one or two more. So take it away.
Well, just a little cautionary tale when you come to Thailand and you get a hotel room and you go to Chiang Mai, which is not on the beaches where I want to be, and you say, I want a room with a temple view. Make sure it's not 2 feet from the window. You can reach out and touch it, and it blocks everything else you could see. It's literally, I can thump on it right here. Wow. It's beautiful, though.
You can see it about that much of it. You can see.
Right. Awesome. So yes, I believe there's going to be a real estate crash in 2026. If one of these happen, 5%. So I don't know if that's a crash. If two of these, 10%. If three or all four of these happen, it'll be above 10%. And I definitely think we'd call that a crash. The problem is it'll be a crash up.
Oh no, we're talking melt up.
This will be prices going up, reasons why prices can go up. And the first one is actually one that we disagree on, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying, if it happens, this is what happens. If the 50-year mortgage becomes a thing, not only does demand go up for purchasing, we can get a better yield because we'll have a lower payment. We'll have that window of opportunity because eventually prices will go up enough to where the 50-year mortgage doesn't make your price any lower. And the interest rate's a little higher, but you'd still be saving a couple $100 a month, depending on if you're in a high cost of living area like mine. It can be $500 a month. If you're in Gary, Indiana, it's not. But that's the first one, is the 50-year mortgage. You have home buyers who can refinance. Mm-hmm. This might be able to get their home payment close enough to where they can do that thing that we don't recommend and pull out equity for vacations and RVs and whatever they're going to do. But some people will pull out equity to buy more properties, which creates two transactions using the mortgage on the house that they're in with the new interest rate or the new mortgage that's no longer in a lower rate or lower payment to add properties to it. So that's the first one that I think is the 50-year mortgage.
Again, this is a great list. Talking crash up here again, folks, not crash down. I think we disagree on whether it's a good thing, but if you just step back and say that if the 50-year mortgage lands, I think you're absolutely right. It's just math. And the math, people are dumb. And the math says I can buy more house. It'll get competitive. People will be competing for scarce resources. And that means prices up. It's hard to argue. What do you think, Matt?
Before we go to Matt really quick, just a quick caveat. I don't think people buy more house. I think they pay more for same house.
Oh, agreed.
That's what happens when we can get a lower.
I meant buy more houses. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yes, I totally agree. Matt,
yes, I expect this exact thing to happen because that's exactly how I vastly improved my wealth situation in the beginning part of COVID. I recognize that with 3.5% rates instead of 6.5% rates, that the property might be worth a little bit more, and that might translate to a little bit higher rents as well. And so I went on a buying spree. I refinanced 10 properties, and then a portfolio of 4. So I refinanced 24 properties to propel growth. I bought another 23 in 19 months. And that was all based on math. It was based on the fact that I was buying assets at 3.5. Now, towards the tail end, the pricing was higher. Towards the tail end, the rate got higher. But the rate was still in the 4s. And so that's when I then kind of abandoned it. And I was like, okay, the massive buy is over. But now there's still opportunistic buys, which is back down to 1 to 3 a year, just to keep on buying assets and acquiring assets, the great deals. But every single deal that came across the desk was a great deal. It was 23% return, 27% return, 32% return. There were these massive returns because rates were at 3.5 or 3.75 or 4. But I have 85% of my portfolio at sub 4% rates, fixed, nice. much like your portfolio. So the idea here is that our payments are locked in. We're good. The melt up absolutely will happen if there's that 50% mortgage that does actually come to market. It will take 3 to 6 months or so for that market to really adjust. And then at that point, Dion's 100% correct. People are going to be paying more money for exactly the same house because debt got cheaper. And people will be sitting there going, oh, it's still unaffordable. Yeah, I know. We get it. You know.
All right, Dion, you're coming out hot. We all agree on number one. If that happens, prices going up. What do you got for number two in 2026?
Well, the second one is what most people are hoping for, right? Not everybody likes the 50-year mortgage, and I'll just take it if it's an option, is if Jeremy Powell is leaving in April, and there are 12 positions and he only represents one, but if Trump gets to put his person in there that also wants low rates like he does, and enough things happen with unemployment and inflation to where we get rates to lower, that everybody keeps saying rates are going to come down, the same thing happens. Your payment can come down because most home buyers buy based on payment. Most investors buy based on yield, so you can increase the yield. And again, it's a window of opportunity. When rates come down, prices will start to go up. So you only have that window as an investor to get in there before that happens. And so as you respond to this, so if rates come down, because that's the plan, it's what Trump wants, it's what people are calling for in 2026 with the change of Powell. But so respond to that, but then think 50-year mortgage and lower rates.
No, I see what you're doing here. You're compounding things. And again, each one of these stand alone is a demand generation, and then you compound them if they come together. So again, I think it's impossible to argue that that's incorrect. Powell will be out in April or May. I don't remember which of the day is, but he will be out. Trump will anoint somebody who is a dove. There is no question. And, I think there's a very good chance the rates are down. The question is how much. Right now, as of this morning, rates are 6.2%. I could see rates, Realtor or Redfin, somebody's calling for 5.9. I'm actually calling for 5.75. So again, anything sub 6 is going to generate demand. We have physical evidence of that the last 3 years. Every time we touch 5.99, demand goes nuts. So I think you're right. Sub 6, game changing. Sub 6, I'm going to say at least likely, if not probable, in 2026. Matt, what say you?
Sub 6, absolutely probable in 2026. Guaranteed. Put a mark on it. It's going sub 6 in 2026. Absolutely. The only question is that I think that there's more of a chance of it going sub 5 than there is of it going back over 6. Because I think what
you mean over 7. I think is
over 6. So I think we go. So I think we could. There's zero chance we stay over 6. I think that's that's a less of a likelihood than we go under 5. So
wow.
Here's what I think happens. Most people don't understand that banks work on margin. So they borrow at X rate and they put it on the street at Y rate. Here's the crazy thing. Since the COVID repair, most banks are at 2.25 to 2.5 over what they borrow for. During COVID, part of the rate collapse was that they were only lending out at 1.5 or in some cases 1.25 over cost of funds. So what happens when the economy starts to get a little bit softer? These guys still need to lend money in order to be able to pay their debts. Wow. What ends up happening is it doesn't need to be just the Fed adjusting rates downward. It can literally be, you've got 1.25 of margin in a lot of banks sitting there. That means that just with a softness in economy, the Fed's charter being jobs, they drop it down. Then you see some banks that were doing it, they would be at 5.5 on a 2.5 or a 2.25 margin play. However, if they just drop it to 1.5 or even 1.75, you now have sub 5 debt available. And more importantly, you can also buy down the debt to get sub 5 really easily.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. I think if we go an average of 5.75, which I thought was a conservative call, really feels conservative now because you brought up great points. You'll be able to buy down to a 4.99, no question. Yeah,
absolutely, you are. Yep.
Yeah, you can get in the 4s.
Yep.
So you know what? I don't know if this is a fifth one yet because again, Dion's got 2 more to go through. But I think margin compression is its own answer. So that might be 2.5, or maybe Dion's throwing that one at us next. But that could be a net new one because you could have Fed cuts, new Fed chair, and bank margin compression. So we may have uncovered a fifth, but we'll see what Dion's got for the next 2.
Yeah, the margin compression, a lot of people think when they think of how banks lend on margin, they think of how a business would do it. And there's a couple elements that are missing. It's mostly based on lender fear more than it's based on lender profit margin, because you have fractional lending. So they're not lending out dollar for dollar on what they're making. And then you have a lot of banks that will carry a mortgage they don't even make the interest on. They're just getting paid the fee for you making the payment.
Yes,
that's
so
right.
There's a lot of that compression that can happen.
Cool.
The third thing, so first we did 50-year mortgage. Imagine being able to buy a 50-year mortgage down to 5.9. Like what that would do to payment. So price goes up there.
Yeah.
But the third one, and now there's only 9 states pushing for this. There's only 7 states with bills in committee. So who knows what's going to happen. But there are states pushing to remove or eliminate property taxes. And a lot of people are saying, well, it could never happen because we need the revenue. Well, places like Washington State, which is as blue as it gets, institutes a capital gains tax for the first time. Sales tax hits all kinds of things that it didn't used to. The CDL school that I worked at, you now have to pay sales tax to attend an in-person school. Like, so there's all kinds of other ways to make revenue. So that just happened this year and in September. So a whole bunch of businesses were hit. But so there's a lot of different ways to make revenue that doesn't have to be property taxes.
Yeah.
Imagine the people who go, my property tax in Washington is for a duplex is, $7,000 a year. That's a significant amount to disappear. But even if it's not the states where we live, it could be the states where people invest.
No,
Florida,
absolutely.
Texas, those states. So now the demand to be an out-of-state investor, which pushes up prices, becomes higher. So if property taxes go away, and then you can do the game theory, 50-year, lower rates, property taxes going away.
Yeah, again, I think you're absolutely right. Again, assuming property tax removal hits investors only versus owner-occ, right? So there's some questions there. You could absolutely see a wave of out-of-state investing. But even if it only hit owner-occ, you're going to get more demand from people looking there. Because again, a $7,000 property taxes in a year, that's $600 a month, right? That's $600 a month and go a long way on a mortgage payment. So you're absolutely right. Even if it's just owner-occ, you're going to see an influx, at least in the states. And I'll even go this far. I think the first state to do it is the big winner. Matt, what say you? Property taxes going to 0.
Gotta get canceled in 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye property taxes, because you know what? I would love it if everybody would pay their fair share, including all you people who don't own property. So I think it's awesome. They used to tie voting to owning property. You get to vote. Guess what? You get to pay some taxes. So I would love it. It would be, guys, just real quickly, indulge me. How much money a year do you think I pay in property taxes?
Well, you really want us to guess that?
Yeah, for sure. I'll tell you.
Dion, you want to go first?
1.2.
No, I'm going to go 280.
So it is over $400,000 that would go right to my bottom line. I would even join Dion. I would buy the whole hotel out in Thailand, and I would just join Dion, and we would just make it a big playground for a few months.
Dude, that's like 16 grand a month.
Yeah. Oh, it's a lot more than that. It's actually like 32 grand a month.
It's 32.
It's like 32 grand a month. Yeah. That gets you just to about 400. It's actually more. So I spend every single time our tax bills come in, it is ridiculous the amount of money that we pay. It is absolutely absurd, because
twice a year for you?
Twice a year.
Yeah, us too. Twice a year.
Twice a year. So literally each time those property taxes come in, we are writing checks for $200,000+.
That is wild. So no, I agree with you, Dion. Again, we're doing this compounding, how prices could go up 5, 10 or more. 50-year mortgage, new Fed share. We got also margin compression is potentially a 2.5. Now we have property taxes going away. Dion, you're on fire. You get all three of these things, and no doubt prices are going up. What's the curveball for number 4?
So the fourth one is one that impacts the strategy that I've used in the last 2 purchases that I did. We had a window of opportunity where remote work became more of a thing than at any point in our lives. Right? Half a century-ish, we've all been alive. And since 2020, it's a recognizable percentage of the workforce. So it doesn't matter that it's only down to 44% of the workforce can work remote now. It was up to 46 for a while. But Those were people who didn't have to live in the cities where the work was. They could move out. So rents pushed up. So this is outside of major cities. So in cities, this could create demand going down, which makes it look like prices come down because the big apartments are mostly in cities. But further out, rents pushed up, but prices didn't, because remote workers were afraid they were going to get called back to the office.
Mm-hmm.
We're hitting 4 years now. This is called remote work stabilization. So the idea is the people are confident in my position. My niece did this. They moved to Texas. She has a remote job. It's my nephew and his niece-in-law, whatever she would be. But she has a remote job and he has a driving job. So they moved to Texas and they bought, because she knows it's been over 2 years. I'm absolutely confident I'm not getting called back to the office. My son's spouse has a remote job. They're looking to buy because she's confident they can buy anywhere, because she's fully confident she's not getting called back to the office. That's starting the trend. So that window of opportunity of rents being pushed up, but prices not, where I got 2 purchases, where my yield was better than most of my other properties because of that, that's going away. But what's going to happen? Home prices go up a little bit further out from the cities where the remote workers can live.
Yeah. No, again, this is one you were on first and on right. Years ago, you made financial moves that really helped, shared it with the audience. It really helped. I agree. All 4 of these. And again, we'll throw in number 5 now, margin compression, because that's an extra. Matt, what do you think about remote work? And do you have any other ideas that might cause a spark in 2026 to the upside?
I mean, the getting rid of the property tax is the biggest thing. Like, I'm in a state where there's no income tax, there's no sales tax. And so all of a sudden you remove the second largest line item to buying a house. The first and most expensive is the mortgage itself. So for me, that's one that really moves the needle. I can't think of any others in particular, other than, there's the idea that they might goose it and give a bunch of checks to first-time home buyers. There's opportunity that might happen. Any sort of a government involvement is never a good thing, because it feels good in the real beginning, and then it doesn't feel good after 90 or 180 days. And you're like, yep, everything took effect exactly like I did. One of the crazy things which was really interesting, we look at, and we as a family of 6 go out to eat up in New England, up in New Hampshire, and family of 6 is usually $120.
Wow.
It's usually about $20 a head, and that's including 4 kids.
Right.
So it's about $120. Here, I was pleasantly surprised, $70.
Oh,
Like, consistently, like the same type of sit down restaurants, the same type of stuff, $70. So if you look at the fact that it's also, geographically, it's a thing. We pay gas, and if you're in Nashville, you're paying $3.25 to $3.35 for gas. If you're just outside the county limits, you're paying $2.50 for gas.
wow.
It's that big of a difference. So I think that the melt up is going to come if the job thing doesn't become a thing. If there really is strength in jobs, I don't see that happening. But if there is strength in jobs, then it's going to bring that many more people. I know in Vancouver, I have good friends in Vancouver. They said, hey, typically, we're looking at a jobless rate under 30 years old of between 4 and 5%. Right now, it's between 14 and 15%.
Yeah. Ouch.
There's a lot of hurt in Canada, and there's a lot of stuff where all these people that pop on and go, oh, the U.S. is the worst country. Get a clue. Do like 5 seconds of research and get a clue. So I don't see anything melting up, or another contributing factor to melting up, unless it would be jobs or something like that, or massive government stimulus. Yeah,
I think margin compression should be number 5, and I think number 6. This is what I had, and I'm just going to put it under housing emergency. Right. Mm-hmm. Again, we have heard President Trump, Scott Bessent, Polte all talk about, an upcoming declaration of housing emergency. Again, I think we've also learned, to your point, Matt, that they're not going to go after the root cause, which Dion talked about earlier, being supply. They're going to goose demand. It's sexy. It moves the needle quickly, and they can control it because supply is controlled at the local level. So I do think, again, if you think 50-year mortgage, new Fed rates, no property taxes, remote work stabilization, margin compression at the bank level, and then you throw in housing emergency, Fed, thou shalt create demand, first time, whatnot, who knows, off to the races. 50% housing crash not likely. Crash up, melt up. Dion, closing thoughts. This was your topic.
2 things. The first one, Matt, if you like those Nashville food prices,
come to Thailand.
Come here. So Chester and I go over. tomahawk steaks, appetizers, salads, drinks, $12 with tip. It was rough. Now imagine if you've set yourself a reverse budget of I must spend $2,000 a month eating out, and that's the expensive meal, because usually it's like $4 for everything that we want for the meal and the drinks and everything.
So you went all out and you got it up to 12.
Yeah.
So we're trying to find the places like that to keep going back to. I think that might be why they like Americans here.
Dion and Chesler are coming back clinically obese alcoholics.
They're going to bring a doggy bag. It's their suitcase. Freeze them.
Exactly. And so the second thing is this could be another crash up contributor, but I don't think it hits in 2026, 27 or 28. Is so many people had this hatred of tariffs. One, it causes inflation. Sure, for the spender. That's like, Matt, you want the property taxes to go away. For the owners, maybe they add a sales tax to your for your die state. Then it hits everybody equally. So I'm on board with that too.
Yep.
The other thing people complain about tariffs is, well, you don't have the infrastructure in place to build the things in the U.S. So if you say just buy U.S., don't buy foreign, you won't pay the thing. Do you expect it to happen overnight? No, I expect it to happen in 2 or 3 years. But look at the commitment being made to infrastructure being spent on companies that are going to produce in the U.S. That's the job solution that Matt.
Yes,
I'm with Matt. I think there's a massive job problem in 2025 and 2026. Inflation and unemployment's going up. It sucks. But now you get where, car manufacturing, iPhone making, all the chips, all that stuff, and the delay to put the factories in place and the infrastructure there. Then we have the job strength that also contributes to prices going up again. So I wish we could let's go back to the Melody Wright thing and game theory 50% crash. But I see, if any of these happen, minimum 10% increase. My state going to be a 10% increase anyway, because we just instituted rent control, and that makes prices skyrocket. Rent skyrocket, prices skyrocket. So I'm in an unfair market. But for most of the country, I think this can actually have an impact market-wide to cause prices to go up.
Crazy. Guys, you're amazing. Again, Dion, enjoy Thailand. Keep doing your lives. Matt, you're amazing. Enjoy Nashville. Guys, happy Thanksgiving. Take care. Later.
You too, boys.
Ciao.